Hey guys, what's up? Carter here, and today I'm here with another card by Vanguard deck profile. Today we'll be doing a deck profile on the Monster Strike Pandora deck. So without further ado, let's get right into the deck profile. So let's go over the start deck first. First, we're going to be running the Pandora. So you need this in order to roll for your eggs. Grade 0, we're running the Gold Egg. Grade 1, we're running the Soul Blast 1 to draw a card from Star deck. Grade 2, we're running Sherlock Holmes. This is a really nice card to have, just because it's kind of being able to deduct what your opponent has in their hand isn't actually that hard early game. You can kind of tell what they have by their discards in their for the ride deck, and based on what deck they're playing. So overall, this card's pretty nice. Of course, there's chances that they might have all three in their hand, and then you're not gonna get much out. But if you do get it right, then that's a free crit and a free 15k, so you can push for damage pretty easily there. And of course, since this is a Pandora deck, we're going to be running Pandora. We'll be going over the deck in a bit later, but first, let's go with the grade 3s. We're going to be running 3 of the Pandoras just because it's a Pandora deck, and you really do need a Persona Ride because it's Monster Strike. I don't know why they did it for Monster Strike specifically, but you need to Persona Ride in order to get your effects off. So her skill is just when this card's placed on the Vanguard circle, if you have Persona Ride this turn, then your opponent gets minus 10k. And the second skill is Soul Blast 1, get plus 10k power. And if your opponent's original power is less, if your opponent's power right now is less than the original power, then you get your whole front row gets plus 10k. So it's actually a pretty powerful skill, because if you're negging 10 and gaining 10, you're pretty much gaining 20. So that helps you gain a lot of power pretty quickly and for relative ease. We'll talk about the faults of this deck a bit later. Next, we'll be running 3 Ryomas. So Ryoma is kind of one of the best cards in the deck. So Countless 1, and then if you have Persona Countless 1 and get plus 10k. If you have Persona Road this turn, you can Soul Blast 1 to give 2 more units plus 10k. So it's another pseudo Persona Ride. Of course, you might want to distribute its power by giving 20k to one column instead of giving 10k to each of your columns. Mainly because your Vanguard, most of the time your opponent's either going to perfect guard or no guard the Vanguard, so you want to have the extra 10k on a column instead, just to help them, guard a little bit more. But this card is really good. I can see why he's pretty expensive online right now. Next, we'll be running 4 Gabriels. So Gabriel is here to help you check the top card of your deck. If it's something that you don't need, you can shove it into your soul. If it's something that you need or a trigger, you can keep it at the top. If it's a unit that you want to have for later, you can put on top and then use the Gacharidoa to put it into your monster box. So she is really key. One of the best cards in Monster Strike set, which is another reason why she's really expensive. So running 4 of those. Of course, her second skill also has she also has a second skill. When this card attacks, if your Persona Ride this turn, you can put her into Soul. Give her 5k, and then at the end of the battle, put her into Soul. So this skill isn't really that good for this deck, but it does help you feel for more Soul in case you need it. But this is mainly used for the other deck. Next, we're running Homachi. So Homachi is a card that's made for Lapis and Pandora. So her skill is, when this card is placed on rear guard circle, if you have Persona Road this turn, you can minus 5k. So really good card, just help you neg another 5k off your opponent just to put them in the negatives. And the second skill is, when this card attacks, if right now their power is less than their original power, you can Countless 1 to guard restrict them. They need to just call 2 cards in order to guard this attack. So if they're doing PGs, they're going to need to ditch another card as well. It's just a really solid card overall. Kind of expensive that it's Counterblast. I would have appreciate it if it was a Soul Blast instead, but that's okay. Counter Blast. It is a little bit of an issue in this deck because you can't really counter charge that well, but anyway. Next, we'll be running 2 Arsons. So Arson is here mainly for its counter charge skill, because as I said before, the counter charging is kind of an issue in this deck. So we want to pump her up to big numbers, and then when she hits, you can refund some of that damage a bit. The first skill is kind of not relevant in this build, although it might come in handy sometimes. When this card attacks, you can counter blast 1, and then put all your trigger units into Soul. And yeah, this card gets plus 10k for every unit put. It's not that great of a skill, but there are times where you might need it. For example, if you did a really horrible 10 roll and you need to call some triggers, then perhaps that might help you. We'll be talking about the Gacha Ridora a bit later, but let's go on with the rest of the deck first. We're also running one more copy of Sherlock Holmes. This is mainly for the Bastion lineups. If you have a Sherlock Holmes on the field, they're going to be sweating because you get to boost your power for pretty much free, and the guess is almost guaranteed correct. They're probably not going to have a grade 2 in their hand, so yeah. Next, we're going to be running 3 of the Goemon. So Goemon is here to help you search for your Pandoras. If you already have Pandoras in your hand, you can use that as ride for ditch fodder. But yeah, this is a pretty important card. If you don't Persona Ride in this deck, you're pretty much running a vanilla deck. So you really do need to have this behind your Vanguard at all times if you don't have any Pandoras in your hand. Next, we're running 3 Tsukiyomis. Tsukiyomi is here to help you grab stuff that you need back from your drop zone. For example, your Homachis or your Gabriels. So it's a pretty solid card. Countless one, you have best this card, you can call a card back. So it's pretty good. Pretty much everything you use as a ditch fodder can be used later on, thanks to Tsukiyomi. I think she's also one of the best cards in the set as well. But again, this deck is very counterblast heavy, so you gotta be careful of how you use it. So next we're running 2 Able. Able is here just to help you recycle your over triggers. In case you put it in your monster box by accident or draw into it, using Able you have a second chance of putting your over trigger back. Honestly, the over triggers in Monster Strike are already not very good, so you know, yeah. All right. Next, for the triggers, we're running 8 crit, 3 draws, 4 heals. Oh, I also forgot my Purple Guards. Purple Guards are here because yes, they're Purple Guards. And last but not least, we're running 1 over trigger, the Lucifer one. Honestly, I'm only running this one because I really like Lucifer, and she kind of acts as the 5th heal trigger. That's pretty nice, and her healing conditions is not restrictive, so you can heal even if you have less damage than your opponent, which is nice. So that's pretty much it. The deck. So when I was playing this deck, I actually find the deck runs smoother when I don't do the 10 roll versus when I do the 10 roll. If you are doing the 10 roll, you might want to kind of save it for later and just not go off the wall with it whenever you both hit grade 3, because if you have a lot of triggers left in your deck, there's a huge chance that you might have half of them as triggers, and then you're going to be like, oh, well, I'm screwed. There's been several games that I played where I used the 10 roll and then I put 3 or 4 heal triggers in there, and I'm like, well, I guess I lose. So be careful when you are doing your gacha redraw. Make sure you have a nice idea of what's left in your deck when you do it. And of course, the free calls is really nice Because if you didn't know, Gacha Redraw has a once per game skill, which is once per game if you and your opponent are both grade 3. You can counterblast 2 to rest this unit, or rest this order, and then put the top 10 cards of your deck into your monster box and choose 3 units in your monster box and call them. So it is a +3 for counterblast 2 and just tap this unit. So it is really actually really good. But it's just not worth it if half of the stuff that you put in there are triggers. Able kind of helps a bit. You can kind of recycle triggers, but you know she's only once per turn, right? So there's only so much she can do to minimize the damage. And if you guys didn't know how the monster box works, once per turn, you can swap something with your monster box from your hand with the same grade. So the Gacha Redraw, when you rest it, you can put the top card of your deck into the monster box, which is why Gabriel is really strong in the Monster Strike deck, just because you can kind of we'll do a demo. For example, I play the Gabriel, I check this, oh it's a crit, I'm just keep this at top and then I'll attack with it or something. And then yeah, there's people that would like to use the Gabriel instead of the Sherlock Holmes in the ride deck, which is also an option. If you don't like Sherlock Holmes, you think it's too gimmicky, but you can totally replace it. But I kind of like the Sherlock Holmes. It's such a big dick move to just swing it for 2 crit turn 2, and your opponent's like, well, I can't do anything about it. So it's really nice. But even if they can guard it, they might use a perfect guard, and that's already 1 perfect guard less they have to guard against your Pandora attacks when you do get it. So overall, deck is really fun. This deck is, if your opponent checks an overtrigger, it's GG. If you don't have a follow up, because you're just negging your opponent a lot of power, and then if they hit that overtrigger in that first attack, then your heart sinks and you feel bad. I know, because I have played again. That situation has happened to me a few times playing this deck, and I'm just like, it's so frustrating, but it's so fun at the same time. But that's pretty much it for this video, guys. If you guys want to support the channel, please use the affiliate links down below. I don't think Monster Strike is coming out in English anytime soon, but if you want to buy some singles for BD2 or anything else that's coming out, feel free to check the links down below, and that would help out the channel so much. But that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. This is Karataku, and I'll see you guys next time.